In this video, we're going to look at how to choose Joomla extensions that are good. Hey there, Joomla fans. Tim Davis here. I'm a Joomla fan too, and thanks for tuning in to Watch Me Work live stream number 30, I believe it is. I've got that written down somewhere. I'll look in a second in my notes. But thanks for tuning in. For the second time now, Watch Me Work live stream is here on the YouTube channel. Thanks for those of you who have been being patient. YouTube has changed something. It took a little time to figure out how to go live this time with their changes, but it is all there. Thanks to Chuck in chat who responded to let me know that he couldn't see me, and hopefully everything will work smoothly from here on out. Might be having some bandwidth issues here in the office too. Have another video call that my wife is on in a conference meeting, so we will see how that keeps going. Anyways, let's head on over the screen and check this out, and we'll start talking about today's topic. Don't forget to go to basicjoomla.com/giveaways. Enter this month's giveaway for some great Joomla prizes that you can use on your site and or while you're working on your site. And of course, I'm thinking of iloveoldtimeradio.com there. So when you go, excuse me, when you go looking for a new extension, or when we go looking for a new extension on our Joomla sites, what is it that we are looking for to help us decide what's the best option for us in all of those things that are together? And so I thought I would run through the process of what I do and some of my practices to find something. And I'm going to use as an example looking for an extension that disables the right click on content in on our website. So I had a client last week ask me how to do that, and I ended up looking for extensions that could do that. So I'm going to use that as the model here today. So let me bring my notes up here on my other screen here. Yeah, Watch Me Work live stream number 30. So the first thing that I do is I basically will Google an extension, what I'm looking for, basically. So let's open up a new tab here. We'll go to Google. And this is part of a process I use to narrow down on some of the best extensions. You could go to extensions.joomla.org and then go and search right there. But I find that Google will really get you right down close quickly to where you're looking for. So for instance, let's Google. Oh, I already have it there right now. Disable right-click Joomla. That's from my searching. What I find is that something will come up very near the top in the search results that's right on the extensions.joomla.org site. And therefore, I figured, great, that's a good place to start. Google's already isolated based on what my search terms were. So we will click there. Also, just let me pause for a second. I'm going to post in chat the link for today's Zoom call, because it's something we can talk about all the way through and along here. All right, so we end up at this extension here. This is the one that was that was at the top result in Google. What I will do next is I will go down and look at the tags that this extension has been filed under. So we see in this case it's content restriction, front-end access control, content protection, access and security, and site access. And basically what that does is it gives me specific areas to go and look for other things that are related to this topic. And I don't always know what to search for or where I would look here on these for these tags. And so I will then click on one of these and see what's in there. So let's see. Let's go content protection. That's what my client wanted. He had translated a lot of documents from Vietnamese to English, and he didn't want people just copying them off of his site. So when I click on that tag there for content protection, then we see there's the number one extension that is there, the first extension that is listed, and then there's a bunch of others that I can look at. So N3T copy link, here's one. No right click, no copy. So that's definitely in the ballpark of what I am looking for. And so I will continue to just see that I've got a bunch here that I can check out. Now, when you're on this page, you can also search You can also filter these results. Now, maybe you want to rule out some. For instance, if you're just looking for free downloads, free extensions, just click the download for free the drop down for free downloads, and go. And now we know we are seeing only the free extensions here. So you might want to be checking out free at first, or maybe you don't want to check out free at first. You just want to see all that's there, because you never know. But that one of the paid versions might only be $10. Excuse me. And it's the best thing since sliced bread. Way better than the other free ones. Who knows? So you check that out. Then the next thing that you want to do is look to see if it's compatible with your Joomla version before you're checking out something. And we have these handy dandy tags that show that. So for instance, this one here is compatible with Joomla 3. Over here, this one is compatible with Joomla 3 and Joomla 4 Alpha, and that's a paid one. But anyways, we see they're all pretty much compatible with Joomla 3 here, so we're good. The next thing that I do is I start to check out the reviews that are there for the different extensions. So I'm going to check out this free one here. It has 7 reviews. If we click on this box, we'll head over to its page in the extension. We can read about it, and then we can start to read the reviews that are here. So this person gives it 5, works great, works as expected, 5 stars, so it's getting very high reviews. Only 7 people, but still everybody's happy. Nobody's posted that it hasn't worked for them or that has been a problem for them. So that's good. Now I also want to pay attention. I also pay attention to how old is the most recent comment. So for instance, the most recent comment here is February 13th of this year. So that's March to April. That's just about 2 months ago. So I know that as recent as 2 months ago, someone has used this extension and they have really liked it. If the most recent review is from like 4 years ago or 5 years ago, I kind of I take that into consideration, because it may be that nobody is using it, or it may be maybe things have changed since that review. Anyways, you just kind of want things to be pretty fresh before you start investigating on things. Okay, so the other thing too is that I check other things. When was it last updated? Now this one was last updated October 29th, 2017. So that's a year, let's say almost a year and a half ago. Which now at this point I think to myself, a year and a half, a lot has changed since then. But given the nature of what I'm looking for in this extension, probably not too much has changed as far as disabling right-click. If this were an extension that were a shopping cart system or a plugin or a payment system and it hadn't been updated in a year and a half, I might think, oh, maybe some things have changed since. Is this an extension that isn't being updated? But I'm looking for a plugin that's going to go on the site that's just going to disable the right click. And so, given that there's not been any huge changes in browser technology that I can think of that would affect that in the last year and a half, I'm okay with this being last updated on in 2017, end of 2017. The other thing that I look at is, does the extension use the update system? I think this is really important. There still are some that don't use the update system. Mostly most extensions use the update system now. I want extensions that use the update system because I want to always have the latest versions for security purposes. And so if I were to install an extension that doesn't use the update system, and a new version comes out because there's been some patch that came out for it, or for some security reason, I'm not going to get notified of that in my Joomla site. I'm not going to see that there's an extension that needs to be updated, that needs to be updated, and I could remain vulnerable for a long time unless I manually go in and check to update the site. And having said that, in order to update the site, then I'm going to have to download the extension and manually upload it and update it in my site. And I'm going to have to do that manually for all the sites of my clients that I manage as well. So the Joomla update system is really important to me. Now, there are some extensions that I don't know for sure now, but there have been some that don't use the update system that I keep using because I like them so much. And that's why I really liked when Phil Taylor added to myjoomla.com the mass installer. So basically, you can manually install an extension or an update for an extension in all of your Joomla sites in one place in myjoomla.com. But the Joomla update system is really important for keeping our sites secure. All right, another thing that I will look for is there a demo? Is there somewhere that I can check this out? And as I look here, there is no demo. Now, you would kind of think that there'd be a website somewhere that they use this on and that someone could go and see, but they don't have a demo. So, all right, maybe another one does when I check it out. Also, does the developer have other extensions? So I want to see what this developer is up to. If you only have one extension, that's fine. There's nothing bad about that. But it could vary, sometimes if someone set out to make an extension, they did it, and then they've moved on to other projects, they might not be maintaining it, or they might not be that committed to it. And why get yourself invested in an extension if it's not going to be supported? Now, again, we're talking about disabling right-click here, so it's not a super big deal. We could just remove that plugin and put it in a different one. But that's all work. Anyway, so here on this page, we can click up here in the link for the developer, glimlag.gr, and this goes to their page on the Joomla extensions directory, and we'll see here that they actually have 7 different extensions. And disable right-click has 5 stars, 4.5 stars, 4.5 stars. Hika coupons for Hika shop has 3 stars. And some of the other ones are not rated. But we can see that here's someone that is putting work into their extensions and is developing things. And it gives you an idea too that what are their extensions doing. So here's a video and audio player, something coupons for Virtumark or Hika shop, order discount rules for Virtumark. So this programmer is making, it seems to be his or her niche is putting together extensions that you add on that help with other extensions or add some element to your site, but are not necessarily big core extensions like a calendar system or an actual shopping cart. Here's an HTML5 media player. All right, so at this point, what you can do is you can decide, well, am I going to download this and give it a try, or will I look at some other things? For me, when I was looking through the extensions, this was enough for me. I thought, okay, this is pretty good. It's free. It seems pretty current. I kind of have a good feel for what this developer is about. So I'm actually going to download it and give it a try. So why don't we do that right now here again. Download that, and so that goes to his page. And at this point, you might find that you need to create a profile in order to download this extension. It's not the case with this site, but this is the next stage. When you're taken to where you download it, you can sort of, again, pick up some of the ethos of what this programmer is about and how he's supplying things, and really how much effort it's going to take you in order to get this. Some extension developers have it where you would register your information, and then they will email you a link to download it. There's all sorts of ways to do. Here's a great way though. Just go and get it. That is really nice. In fact, while we're here, you could always just right-click and open. I'm gonna right-click on home and open a new tab and see what their site is like. That sort of gives us an idea too of how organized they are, of how much work they're putting into their business, and just kind of have a look at things. So anyways, all right, so let's click download. And there's a disable right-click. I'm just going to leave this right in my delete folder. I already have it in the folder where I put things for Joomla. And it is down there. All right, so let's go into the back end of the basic Joomla site. Feel free in chat to type any ideas or any comments you have about what you do for looking for finding good Joomla extensions. And I do have the Zoom call there. Do I still have the link there to paste? Yeah, there it is, for those of you that might want to talk with your voice, as I say. All right, so here we go. Extensions, manage, install. You know, hey, Joomla 3.9.5 is out. I haven't done my update video yet, so that's why this site's not updated, or any of the other ones. Okay, manage and install. And here we go. So I'm just going to go from this thing that I downloaded here. I'm going to show in folder. I'm going to click upload package, and then from the other screen I'm going to drag over that zip file, put it in there. All right. I actually am going to do a maintenance money live stream on this plugin because I think it would be an interesting topic as part of maintaining our Joomla sites. So that might get a little bit duplicated in what I'm doing right now. The extension's installed, so I'm going to go extension. And we know it's a plugin, so we'll view plugins. And I'm going to sort over here in the right-hand column, the ID. I'm going to sort with the highest numbers to the top, which lets me know that here is what that extension is called: System Disable Right Click. All right. I'm going to click on that to go into, because we have to publish it for it to work. Say enabled. And now we can check out the options that we have here. You know, that's another thing to consider when you are picking a Joomla extension. What's the documentation like for it, or how intuitive is it? I haven't even looked to see if there's documentation for this. Let's just check and see. Oh, there's a support forum. And we can go to the support forum and we can see that there's things that we can check here. Don't see anything for the right click, but it's good to see that there is a support forum. And also we can see that I checked to see how long or how old the newest post is. It looks like the last post in here, 1 year, 1 month, 3 years, 7 months. So not really too much fresh stuff happening here. But there are 1,367 messages, and given what we've seen about the nature of the extensions that this person is developing, it might be okay that there's not a lot of activity in the support forum, because they may just be very basic and self-explanatory, and it may very well be that the support that is here is actually how-tos on how to do things, and so that's not going to... that doesn't bother me about this one. If there's a really complex shopping cart, or if there was a calendar system or an event booking thing, and I went and saw that the forum didn't have a lot of activity on it, I would kind of wonder how active that's being used. Chuck in chat says he looks for article reviews on extensions. Yeah, good idea. Where do you find those article reviews? Is it something that just comes across your emails, Chuck, or something that comes up on your feeds? By the way, this new system with YouTube right now, it's like 15-second delay, so probably going to have to sort that out and figure that out along the way. So working on just a little bit of a delay here. All right, let's go back to the back end. And so we see with this plugin, you can disable right-click and or show pop-up with custom message, restrict it to specific groups, and disable, select, and copy. Now, the first time that I went to try this on my client site, all I did was I enabled it, because I figured, hey, you know what? That's, disable right-click. We're just going to enable it. Chris says, ask at your local Joomla user group. Excellent. Excellent tip. Yeah, I think, and I've got that down a little bit farther, but network with your Joomla friends or companions or comrades, and ask them what they use. In fact, I think John Moholt in the Facebook group, the Joomla Facebook group, was asking about a right-click disable thing as well a few years ago. Yeah, Chuck wishes that there was a Joomla user group near him. Yeah, I'm in Canada. There is no Joomla user group. I should probably maybe start one locally, but anyways, good point there, Chris. Anyway, so as I was saying, I enabled this thinking, oh, once I enable this, it's just going to disable right-click. And then what I did was I went and I thought, okay, so I'm going to right-click. Wait a second, that's not disabled. I can still do stuff. So I went back and looked closer, and I saw a really cool thing. It says user groups to apply. And I thought, wow, that's pretty cool. So their approach to disable right-click here is that you pick which groups cannot right-click. So for instance, if we don't want people who are from the public or not logged in or guests to be able to right-click, then we just apply it to those groups. Disable, select, and copy. So here's some options to kind of work through. Disable, yes. And then disable right-click, we're going to say yes. And show the pop-up. Oh, that's cool. So I'll just start playing around with stuff. And this is, I guess this sort of speaks to finding good Joomla extensions, because now you're just playing around with these options, see if this is what you want. In fact, one of my points later on is that in looking at different extensions before you pick one, you might come across features that you didn't even know that you wanted. So for instance, just disable right-click on the site. Well, what if you were selling a membership on your site, or you had and you wanted to say to people, hey, you're free to copy the content that's on here. I just ask you to buy a membership. They buy a membership and then they log in, then they're able to. So I hadn't actually even thought of that opportunity. Chris in chat says several of the US Joomla user groups also have online access to their meetings, so you can participate online, including Chicago, Twin Cities, Texas. Yeah, that's a great point. And that's the nice thing about networking. We do have those opportunities when the Joomla user groups are publishing stuff. Also, there's the Australia user group. There's a user group in Australia, somewhere in Australia, that live streams their meetings. And I think that the Joomla user group London is as well. And of course, here we are in Basic Joomla Tutorials YouTube channel. We have our live streaming opportunity to share by chat and voice if you want to. So those are great places too to ask about extensions and to network on it. Anyway, so back to this one here. So here's a pop-up, and I thought, oh, that's nice. And then you can actually put in a pop-up message. And I thought, well, that's pretty cool, because the last time I used a script like this was years ago, and it just said, please share, don't copy, or saying that it's disabled. So then we could just please share the address of our page with others. All right, so having set up a few things here, we're just going to click Save. And now we'll go to the home page. Let's go back to the giveaways page, just to open a new page. And there it is. So I'm going to, hey, look at that. I cannot even select the text. And if I right-click, it says right-click, please share the address of our page with others. Now, hey, I just had a great idea, but I'm going to use this for Maintenance Monday. So lips are sealed on that pop-up message. But the pop-up title, right-click, thanks for visiting. Thanks for visiting. Okay, so save that. Refresh the page. Here, we'll close this here. Refresh. And now when I right-click, thanks for visiting. Please share the address of our page with others. One thing I noticed about this plugin is that in order to close this window, there is an X there. It's a little faint. So I would probably maybe do a CSS change on that. But if I click outside, yeah, you actually have to hit the X on that. All right, so as you're experimenting and looking at things, you think, hey, yeah, okay, that could be improved, or I would like to tweak that a little bit. But we've learned quite a bit about the options in this plugin, so that's pretty cool. That's a good one, I think. That checks a lot of boxes. Just the same, I'm going to disable it, and I'm going to go back to, now we're kind of lost here. Let's see, Joomla extensions, directory, content protection, and just to see, maybe just in case you're missing something, we have a little time. I mean, for me, that extension was the one I went with my client, because it's set up so nice, it had everything, and just it was customizable and great. But let's check out these other ones here. N3T copy link, we'll go to that. It has 6 reviews, rating of 5. We can see it was last updated in May of 2017. So almost 2 years ago, but the comments I made before about this just being a plugin to disable right-click is not that big an issue. It uses the update system. The reports are good. It's just an amazingly designed plugin. Does exactly what it says. It also allows you to add your custom message along with the source URL. Oh, that's pretty cool. So it looks like in your custom message you can put in the source URL so that people can share it. That's a neat feature. There's not a demo, but we can check out. We could go to download. In fact, let's just do that. We'll check out the developer. He has some other plugins here. Copy link that we've been looking at. N3T coming soon. This plugin, when published, will block displaying live site. That's cool to look into. Anyway, so he himself also has 7. A hidden CAPTCHA field, CAPTCHA fields, and some other things happening there. So the same thing goes for the previous programmer or developer, that he is active and doing some things. No demo there, but why don't we go to the download. And so we see here that his downloads, he's making his available through a bitbucket.org. And so he has different versions of the plugin to download. So this looks a little bit different, whereas the previous site we went to, it just offered the latest version for download. Here's a repository of different versions, although it's nice we can see how many times this has been downloaded. Now we see here the newest one is from 2016-01-17. And then when we click back, we see the latest version is for the latest update was May 17th, 2017. Blatant promo. Chris says you can connect with us at joomla-twincities.org. Excellent. Let me just change that link there for everyone. I'm all for promotion on this channel. And especially on Watch Me Work Wednesdays, or Watch Me Work live streams. Let me just, here's the link there. We'll check this page out in a little while here. I'm looking for people to come on, be interviewed, and tell their Joomla story and show something that they think they'd like to show others. So if that's you, shoot me an email at support@cybersalt.com. In fact, if someone wants to shoot me an email at support@cybersalt.com, I just want to make sure that I have my help desk set up right, because I haven't gotten anything since setting it up. But I'm a small fish. Not a lot of people contact me. But if you want to give, yeah, I don't know, one of you, support@cybersalt.com. Chuck, why don't you do that for me? Don't, because basically you all get, anybody can if you want. But all right. So back to this though. The latest update is May 17th, 2017. I wonder if the latest update is the latest time that this was updated. I do not know. Anyway, so, because when I go to download, I want to get the most recent one. And if it was last updated in 2017, it's not. Hey, Chris, thanks for that. That would be great. And you know, Chris, if you ever want me to remote in or do something, that would be great as well. Of course, now that I know you're streaming it, I can try to hook up at the right time there too. All right, well, let's just download the 2016 version and see what's going on. Download 2000. Okay, plugin N3T copy. Here we go. One thing I will check, does this use the it uses the update system, so that's kind of good, because that means when we go and install this, close. When we go and install this, if it's not the most recent version, this one will it'll show up needing to be updated. Extensions, manage, install. And now where's my folder on the other side here? We'll bomb that over there. That gets installed. So right off, I'm going to go to extensions, manage, and update just to see if there's an update for that plugin since it's installed. Let's see how if that works. Find updates. Waiting. Lots of stuff happening on my computer when I'm live streaming. Spin. While that's checking, let's go here and open up the plugins tab. And here it is, N3T copy link. We'll open that up. There's a Joomla registration 2.0.0 plugin from RS Joomla for RS forms. On here, look at collection could not parse HTTP N3T bitbucket.org updates extension. Before you update, ensure that, okay, so there was a problem with it trying to see if there was the latest version. So it shows that it will update with the Joomla update system, but it looks like there's a problem. All right, something to keep in mind as we evaluate here. Output settings, custom suffix. If you don't want to, output setting. If you don't want to use standard clipboard suffix such as source, fill here the desired text to append to the end of copied text. So there's a learning curve here to put in URL, site URL, title. All right, so again, a little bit of figuring out to do here. So let's just do what we all tend to do. Thanks, Chuck, for sending that email. Chris says the last updated date is not always the last update of the extension. Some developers don't update the GED each time they update the extension. Okay, that's a good point. So if they so what you're saying is the date in the GED might actually be older than the most recent update that exists. I hear you. Which is interesting because in this case, the last date updated is actually newer than it looks like the version that we can access. And listen, not judging anybody here. I mean, this is just one example that we're going through. Stuff happens in people's lives. I got a ton of stuff that's, I mean, my main site was down for a day when I did some server changes and didn't even notice. And I thought, that's like great advertising for people that might be looking. Okay, got this published. Let's refresh. And I'm going to right-click. Oh, wait till it loads. Okay, right-click. It's still letting me copy here. Do a little bit of reading here. This plugin enables the specified text will be appended at the end of any... Oh, I did not read. That which will be appended at the end of any copied content from your website. Oh, that's interesting. All right. So that means if I copy this, right-click and copy, and then bring over Notepad++, a new tab here, and paste in here, Control-V. Ah, well, how about that? Thanks to all those donating prizes this month. So there's the text that I copied, but then it puts the source at the end. Well, that's cool. So, well, this is the great thing about watching me work live streams. We're figuring something out. So this is a totally different kind of approach. It's not disabling the right click. It's actually enabling, it's actually putting copyright or source information inside when someone copies. So when they paste, it's there. They're probably more likely to give credit. And that's a neat way to drive traffic to your site too. And also, if they're copying to put on their site, you could that's going to help with getting cross links from other sites. So that's a cool approach as well. In fact, so we see here that you can actually change the output settings. Let's see, only append the copy link text if copy text. Oh, so only append the copy link text if copy text has at least this length in characters. So Oh, let's try this just while we're looking here, playing around. Permission to use is granted as long as this credit information is used. Right. So if I save that, go back here and refresh. The giveaway won't load for you. Yeah, in fact, I've closed up here. Are you talking about the giveaway for entering, Chuck, or the actual page? Here, so I'm going to go here and copy, and we'll go back here, to here, and go Control A and V. All right, so see what we have here is we have permission is used to permission to use is granted as long as this credit information is used. So by putting in something, I took out the actual URL thing. So which means that we go back here and we put in. Oh, okay, I'll check that. I'll check into that, Chuck. So we have a bunch of things that we can put in here. Site URL. So we could probably put a space, and then we can go copy, write, and then custom suffix, squiggle tag, URL, copyright permission, blah blah blah. I won't spend too much time on this, but if I put a line in there, and then we can go squiggle URL. Save that, and spin around, and we'll just copy this, paste that again, and you get copyright permission. And anyway, so cool, because there is the URL for it. A different approach. Now, having said that, it's not what my client was looking for, so I would have learned, hey, here's a cool thing that you can do with an extension, with a plugin, and another option, which down the road we can use. You never know when you're going to use that. There might be someone that wants things to be copied. I mean, I have a site that I think I would rather have people copy and paste and then include the credit to the link because it's just jokes that I have on there and I've collected from other places, instead of preventing them, because I would rather have the cross links for the authority of that. Cool. All right, so I'm going to disable that. Let me just see if I click on. Let's see. That worked for me there. And Chuck, you said giveaway won't load, and I think I asked the page. I think I asked two things: the page or the contest itself. That loaded for me, but who knows? Maybe something here broke things. All right, so at this point, you could just keep looking. I've already spent a bunch of time on this, looking at things. So I am kind of curious to see what might be available in the paid download, especially if they have a demo. And they do have a demo, so that's great. And here's a list of features. Keep your contents and images safe from being copied. 3 layers of protection. Disables right click. Disables text selection. Disables keyboard shortcut. Control A. Okay. So we'll add triple layers of protections from data being copied. It's not a 100% solution. And of course, we know on these things, there's always some way to get stuff. I could show you, but then I'd have to kill you. Okay, the contest didn't load. All right. So let's see the demo. Yes, all right. So I cannot select. I cannot go Control A, and I cannot not anything else that I can do. So yes, it's working. You can look and say, hey, how much does this guy charge? Doesn't really, oh, $30. All right. And that is a, and we also see here too that he has some other extensions that we can check out. No, RightClick, head, CSS script, testimony, quote slider, a whole bunch of things in here. Wow, he's got a lot of stuff. So if you wanted to just buy a plugin, then that would, you could, I think it looks like he's got a lot of support and been here for a while. Let's check out support. So also support is by emailing. And so, all right. At this point, I would probably be satisfied enough with what I've seen that I would make a choice and I would go with the first one that we looked at because it's free, it has lots of features, and it's customizable, and it's time to get moving on because we've added the information. So basically, all right, so let's just make sure that I turn off these plugins here and leave my site the way that it was. Don't mess this up too much. There's quite a bit of the process of what I do to find a good Joomla extension for a need that I'm looking for. But I have a few other comments here, and some have already been made. Let me bring that back up. They are in Notepad, a different tab here. Hey everybody, look at this. I got like 37 tabs here, although they're not. Some of the other ones are closed. Some other things that I consider. Let's put the chat on the right hand side here. Some other things that I consider when I'm looking for extensions, and that is, first of all, does one of my favorite developers have an extension that will do what I'm looking for? So let's, for instance, let's consider a case of let's go to OS. I think it's OS Solutions. We will go and see that. Joom donation here. All right, so Joom donation. I've used Joom donation on my site and a couple of sites, but Joom donation is part of OS, and they have other things here. There's event booking, OS property, eShop, membership pro, eDocument, OS services. My whole point is that if you if you're using Joom donation and OS services booking, that's something that I bought that I haven't set up. You might think, hey, I'm looking for something that will manage renting rooms in for groups that want to use a room in a building. You might think, well, I wonder if Joom donation or OS Solutions has that, because I like their stuff. I know how it works, and I want to get things that are work in there consistently, so users don't have to learn a lot of different interfaces. Because as we know, developers sort of all have their own mindset and approach to things. So if you find you really click with one developer, you may want to check out what other things they have, so that you can take advantage of tools that you're pretty much already familiar with, and you just have to learn in a different context. The other thing too is that you might have a membership with an extension developer that allows you to download any of their extensions, in which case, for sure, you're going to go and check and say, hey, I wonder if they have something that I can use for this. Now, it's not the guarantee that everything that one person puts out is the best of everything. So for instance, they might be killing it at donations, and they might be killing it at managing property or selling property, but they just might not be the shopping cart that you want. I'm not saying anything about anything specific here, but at least go and check out and see what they have, if it will do what you want. So does a favorite developer have what you are looking for? Ask in the Facebook extensions group, or in the Facebook Joomla group. Now, I would qualify this here. I think we maybe talked about this the other day. In the Facebook group, on the Joomla Facebook group, a lot of people just pop in there and say, hey, I'm looking for an extension that will do this. Can anyone tell me? Now, some people sometimes get a a little snarky and say, oh, why don't you Google it? Or why don't you search the Joomla extensions directory? You know, there are people that maybe don't know the resources, or are maybe not able to help themselves find things as much as we think that they should. They may be very new and just launching out into things. So I think it's always good to be kind to people. But what I would say is that definitely don't just jump into Facebook extension group before you do any of your other searching and say, hey, I need something that will disable right-click. Anyone know what it will do? Have a look, because if you don't look for yourself, you will miss out on some of the other things you might find along the way, just as today I did in discovering that there's that other extension that you could add the source information if people collect things. And then also, and we mentioned it before, and I really like that the point was brought up about Joomla user groups. Get connected online in the community, whether it is with one of the user groups, Joomla user groups, connecting with people there, or friends that you have in the Facebook group, or through the channel or live streams like this, or maybe in a forum somewhere. Participate, and you're going to build networking relationships and connections that are really going to help you in your development. And even just as important, you're going to develop connections with people that you can help. And I think part of human dignity is not only being able to receive help from others, but also helping others as well. Joomla itself means all together, of course, and so it is a community, and it's a community with a lot of volunteers and a lot of work put into it. So yeah, don't just be a lone wolf out there. Connect with someone, and connect outside of Joomla as well. You're thinking of someone, drop them a note and ask them how they're doing. Or and the other thing too is that just speaking about developing community, sometimes in the Facebook group or somewhere, you'll see someone has posted and asked a question and no one has answered, and you might have an idea of how to help. Just contact that person privately and say, hey, can you tell me a little bit more? What's the specific URL? Let me take a quick look at this problem you're having, see if I can figure it out. Now, of course, everybody's on a different scale and level in their knowledge of Joomla and their confidence or ability to help others. So it's not that everybody has to communicate about every single thing. Just to, it's got to at least be helpful. But we're stronger for the relationships and friendships that we have in Joomla. I mean, we're certainly stronger because of the relationship that we don't have with the people and all the stuff that they're doing that we're taking advantage of. So that is a great way to find good Joomla extensions as well. And the Joomla user group, that is a great place to connect. And I think that we all know that if when we get connections to people in other parts of the world, that we can, and they're joining us, that's the magic of, one of the magical things of the internet, connecting with like-minded people from different cultures, different parts of the world, and just enjoying that connection. All right, so I pasted again the Zoom link there. Anybody else have any other tips or ideas or comments? Go ahead and paste them in there now, or something you want to share. Hey, we were going to go to the, let's check this out. The Joomla Twin Cities user network. Click allow to get important timely notices about Joomla Twin City events. I'm going to allow that. See how that works. Powered by Push Crew. Wants to show notification. I'm going to say allow. I never say yes to those things. So let's see what happens. Here's the site here. We're a network of Joomla users, designers, developers, and managers to get together to talk about Joomla issues that we face in our everyday use of Joomla. The atmosphere is casual, and you're welcome to stop in and join us for our meetings. Bring your questions and get to know others here in the area that might be able to help you. And you are a registered Joomla user group. Cool. So next meeting, first Tuesday of each month, with some holiday exceptions. And it says sign up for our emails, info emails to get notice of our events. All events scheduled, ... Doesn't look like there's anything there right now. There you have a Facebook group, Facebook page. You can follow on Twitter and connect on LinkedIn. I'm going to follow on Twitter. I have to log in as Basic Joomla. Scheduled. Is the caller there? There right now. There you have a Facebook group, Facebook page. I've got a bit of a delay here, so now I have to put in my earphones here so I can actually hear in real time in the Zoom call. So hold on while I give my screen a hug behind here. And we'll have probably a bit of an echo for a second till I get control of this here. Oh my goodness. I didn't realize this wire dropped back there. Okay. Plug that in there. All right, who's there? Let me talk. So there's going to be a bit of delay. If you're watching, I can see who it is that called. If I find that right window, Zoom. It's not there. Oh, here's the call here. Open that up. And drag this over. Cannot see. Let's just keep logging into Twitter here. And, oh, manage participants. Someone came in and left. Feel free to try again if you want. Yeah, Vinny, the old radio thing is turn down your radio. Yes, yeah, if you probably want to, yeah, if you're gonna call in on Zoom, turn off the sound and then you won't be affected by the delay. It's a little bit weird too talking on Zoom with the delay because if I'm talking to you on Zoom and show you something, you have to wait 15 seconds to see it on your screen. So. Chris says, sorry, tried to connect but went crazy with the 2 connections. No worries. If you want to try again, that's fine. Yeah, we sorted out. Watch me work a live stream. No pressure. So here we go. Joomla Twin Cities, tweet, follow. There we go. Look, here's a whole bunch of other Joomla user groups that you can check out as well. In fact, I think if we search here, get my cable out of the way here. Let me change ears. Joomla user groups. There's probably a map that'll come up. There we go. Joomla user groups directory. The chat delay is about 45 seconds. Yeah. Yes. I was hesitant to try Joomla's, to try YouTube's new streaming thing. They're moving from the classic interface to a new interface, and it was totally different. So yeah, I spent the first couple of minutes, and again, this was another day, and Mary commented on Monday that I was up early because I actually texted that I was ready to go like 2 minutes before the stream, which counts for being up early. But so I was ready and walking around, and then I went to go live, and so we'll have to we'll sort it out. Just one of those growing pains things. There's a link to the Joomla user group directory. You can find them. We've kind of looked at this before. There's 22 in North America. The most is in Europe. And in North America, if we click here, there's pretty cool graphics. All of them in the United States. So control to zoom. There's where they're located in the United States. But you guys can you can find a user group, and you'll probably check out and see which ones are streaming, so that you can participate online. All right, let's go back to the page here. New meeting topics. October 2, 2018, November 6th. A review. Oh, this month featuring review of my Joomla service. And then November 6th, JNet topic, featuring review of a community survey extension for core Joomla. And other groups. So we've got links to other groups. 404 component not found. No worries. I got plenty of stuff on my own stuff that's not working. So, cool. Mary took the new dog to the vet. Hey, Mary. What kind of dog did you get, Mary? And why did you get a new dog? Is this an additional dog or is it a replacement dog? Yeah, Chris, don't worry about it, man. I think we all have that in common. We've all gone to show something and it breaks. And so Chuck says, Gleam.io refused to connect. Yeah, I'm not sure what's up with that because I have been able to click through. So hopefully it's just a temporary thing. Powered by Gleam. Unless, who knows? Who knows what might be happening? If you want to give that a try in Firefox, you could see if it's just a Chrome thing. But hopefully that's just temporary. A reboot might clear that up too. So there's the information too on our contest this week. Let's take a look at that. 14 impressions, 31 actions, 3 users have entered so far this month. So that means possibly someone out there has not entered yet. And maybe Chuck's trying to get in there. Although Chuck just won, so last month. And I have no new prizes for you to win for a year, Chuck. But if something gets added, then we will certainly, you'll certainly be eligible for it. But is that a My Joomla mug on my desk? Yes, it is. Phil Taylor sent that to me. I do a little bit with so myjoomla.com. That's one of the prizes in the monthly giveaway. And I've actually, when I do my Joomla update video, because 3.9.5 is out, for the last couple of updates, the mass update feature has not been feeding back. So I've been talking with Phil about that, and he troubleshoots some things, and yeah. So yeah, that, and then this is just a regular lab sticker on actually Associated Gospel Church's thing I got from a conference. So I just started putting other stickers on there. So Peter Van Westen sent me some stickers. He actually sent me a hoodie too, but and I've narrated some of the videos for regular labs. So all you got were stickers. Oh yeah. Well, from the Bailiwick of Jersey, I'm pretty sure that shipping. I know I've seen Phil talking about the cost of living on the island. I live on an island too, on Vancouver Island on the west coast of Canada, and but I think. I think there's about 750,000 people on this island, and it's 6 hours to drive end to end. So Phil's is a lot smaller, and so therefore island life there is a lot more expensive. But at least you got stickers. All right. Yeah, so it's funny, when you get showing things to people and something breaks or something's not working, and it's like, whoops, got to do something about that. Just while we're talking, let me tell you about a cool. I think it's all sold out now on AppSumo. But this user back tool that I used is working really well with the client. Basically, let me just show you. Make this site is now live, and so I need to go and I need to log into it. It's live and it's there for, I started doing training videos for them so they can change these things and adding their content and working on things. But this feedback button, oh, I'll show you the screen. This feedback button here is a great tool. It's called UserBack. And basically, I have people now, they started immediately sending me screenshots with notes, and was able to add them so that they can work amongst each other and keep track of their notes. So it's a pretty cool thing. I think it's the AppSumo deal is gone, but I'm not sure what the cost is here. User back here. Well, here's their link here. User back. We can go to their home page. Yes, I will do that. Right, as soon as I find the right link. It is right here. Try user back free. Their pricing, let's see what their pricing is. $16 a month for a team. That's 5 users and 3 projects. So that's actually not too bad for working with ongoing projects with people. So they have free 1 user, 1 project, limited notifications, but they do have a free version. But it is, yeah, it's pretty nice. And just to show you, let me see if I can bring up an email. Let's see here. Let me just look on my other screen here, bring up my Gmail. I gotta find one. Let's see. Okay, so here's an example of an email that this has someone's email address on it. Okay, I get notifications that there is some new feedback. Now I have this scrolled up so you can't see the email address of the person doing it. But he selected this graphic and made a suggestion that when I click on this, it takes me to user back and I can see what the comment was. Just saying that's a good graphic, it's a little blurry, needs to be done again. And then there's some comment about the text. But it's really nice. It just showed up in my email and I can click view details. Let's go back and move that over. Let's change screens and view details. Are the details, can I show them? I can show them if I take out the email address here. Let's see. No, I can't, because as I resize this, oh, hold on for a sec. I can do that. Here, I'll do this. If I drag the page off. Sorry, I know you guys can't see what I'm doing, but I'm just trying to cover up the privacy stuff here. Yeah, so here is that when I clicked on that email, it takes me into where the feedback is, and I can see there's 2 comments here. I click 1, and now what the person is writing is showing off screen. But I can click 2, and then you can see the comments there. And then later on, in the right-hand side, there's things that you can do. You can assign this to someone who's on the team for this project. You can reply and get back to them. There's a lot of it's really cool. I'm glad that it's working really well. Really nice for working on a project. All right, let me get now my windows are all discombobulated here. Get back to chat. Let's close that email. Okay. Chuck has a message retracted. Chuck takes that back. All right, so everything looks to be going okay with the stream here. I don't know if you guys notice any difference in the quality in the stream. Is the picture pretty clear? Is it smooth? Is it jerky? You can see what's going on there. And what screen do I have open here? Yes, here we go. We've got my basic Joomla. Let's update this plugin just while I'm talking with you guys. So Mary, you rescued a Catahoula mix. Oh, people bothering you. Catahoula mix. I knew someone that had a Catahoula leopard. What is it? Catahoula leopard something. And that was really neat markings on that dog. Oh, and Vinny, you never said yes to his stickers because you didn't want him to have to pay for shipping to the U.S. What a kind guy you are. Invalid extension update. Huh. Let's go to AppSumo just to check on the user back there. Sold out. You actually, interesting with AppSumo, you can buy a membership to get back into some of these deals, but it's like $99 a year. And Mary, how does your new dog feel about the goats? Is he getting along with the goats? I don't know if you bought a membership with AppSumo, if this is one of the things that you could still buy on their deal there. I know they keep some things going, but this one might be closed. Just be careful. Oh, here we go. I can try this again here. Mary's asked if I hooked up with the Texas user group yet. No, I have not yet, Mary, but I will do that today because they want a demo of my Joomla. Mary was in the, and Mary, I don't know if you came in after that, but we were talking about how Joomla user groups are a great way to connect with other people to get recommendations on Joomla extensions. So Mary was taking part in the Joomla the Texas user group the other day, and they want someone to show my Joomla, so she gave them my email, the tim@basicjoomla.com email, and if you guys remember, weeks ago I set up a Zapier in order to process, just as a test, to process mail, and I think it was to my tim@basicjoomla.com. So I have to figure out how that is broken, or how to fix that address. But anyways, Mary, I will contact them because you gave me the contact form on that as well. So I will touch base with them. So your dog barks at them. Yeah, Catahoula is not a small dog either, right? He's at least goat size, unless you got him as a puppy, in which case he will be goat size later on. And he will learn. Yeah, my neighbors have a new dog. The chat is not showing up here on the screen here. Let's go back and switch and see if that fixes it. There we go. Now my neighbors have a new dog. So they have a very small little cotton ball dog. I don't know how old that dog is, but in all the years it has not figured out that I live next door. So it barks at me like I'm an intruder every time I come home. So I have a great, my neighbors are great. We've lived beside each other for, it'll be 23 years later on this fall. So, it's all good. But now they have another bigger dog, a big brown dog. I've seen pictures of him on their social media. My neighbor owns a Windsor plywood franchise here in town. So I'm hoping this big dog figures out who I am before, within a period of like a couple of months. The summer's here, he'll see me. So, but most dogs figure things out. But there's a few dogs that don't. My daughter has a dog. It's sort of a, I don't know what it is. It's a mutt, but and it's a fun little dog. But I think that dog is dumb, and it can only do one trick. Like, it can only know one trick at a time. So teach it to sit, then you want to teach it to play dead. It's like it only has one slot for memory and one trick. Oh, cool. The Texas demo was pretty interesting because they demonstrate how hackers do MySQL injections. That's neat. Yeah, I did. Yeah, when you mentioned that you're in that, I sometimes see their notes or their comments on Facebook that they're going to be meeting, but I missed that one. All right. Well, everybody, what else have we got happening here? What do you want to share? Anything you want to point out? Anything you're working on? Otherwise, we'll get pretty close to wrapping up here. Now, with the huge delay today, I still have to talk for like 45 seconds to see if anybody shares anything else. Chuck, keep me posted on the contest situation there. Maybe a reboot or something will work for you, but see what happens. If something has happened that's local for you or something, at least it happened after you won and didn't prevent you from winning. So at some point, I don't know if it'll be today or tomorrow, I am going to go on and do the how to update Joomla to 3.9.5, and I think that otherwise next Monday, Maintenance Monday, who knows what I'll be doing. I have some ideas. I have one thing I've been taking a couple of weeks trying to figure out how to get to work, and it wasn't working. And then the other day I just started getting messages because it involves a cron job, and it seems to be working. So I might be close on figuring that out. Oh, the contest worked for Vinny. Okay. Mary's done some... oh, let's see. Chuck says, who's ready for Joomla 4? And Mary says she's done some testing on it and you're really looking forward to it. That's cool. Chuck says him too. Nice changes. Yeah, that's gonna be cool. I have a client that wants me to update them to the newest version of ACY mailing. You know, we've talked about how ACY mailing 6 is out. And I just it's very different. I have to figure it out for myself, so I've been kind of hesitating to move any of my clients to it. And the only reason that I thought of that is that with the changes in Joomla 4 and looking, it's going to be a lot of activity with our clients when we change them over and they learn new ways. So but it's all going to be good. Vinny's waiting for the new custom field that he's excited about and has mentioned before. Yeah, that's the fun thing about Joomla. All these things that we're excited about coming along, and you know, even with 3.9.5 coming out, I'm interested to see what bugs were fixed. Every now and then someone puts in something. Every now and then they put in a new little feature that's really cool, or they fix something. In fact, I find sometimes by looking to see what's fixed, you can actually learn something that that you didn't know that you could do, and say such and such is fixed and now works. And I think, I never even thought about trying to do that. So, Mary, so you start using ACY 6 and you're liking it, but it is different. Yes, and I'm happy to try to try it and use it. It's just some of the people that I have that are using ACY mailing are probably prefer it not to change, but it's just really just work and training clients, and that's good. That was, oh, Mary, that's why you need it part of the email delivery tips. Good. Yeah, I'm actually thinking about taking each of those topics that we in that Watch Me Work live stream on email deliverability and just doing 4 tighter tutorials on each one, separate ones, so that people can find them when they're searching and be a little bit together. I kind of like the I kind of like using some of the live streams and networking with you and trying things out and working on them to get things straight in my head, so that I can later on do things a little bit tighter. Chris says, does AC6 have all the features of the previous version yet? Mary says it's using custom fields and it's more like constant contact. And Mary says she has some diehard ACY5 users as well. Yeah, and that's the interesting thing. As I mentioned before, like the big change in ACY mailing 6 is, like when I went in there, I couldn't figure out how to send a newsletter. But ACY5 had newsletters and campaigns. So you could set it up to send out certain newsletters based on certain rules. And they've combined that, which makes sense. So now there are no individual newsletter mailings in a sense. There's still a list, but you want to. But each thing you send out is a campaign, which makes sense. I mean, if I send out a newsletter as I'll be doing tonight with the latest content that I'm putting out for my site and jokes and quotes and sermon illustrations and things like that, then I'm just going to send that out once. But if I set up an email and encourage people to sign up for a list in order to get some information, then I create a campaign, and then I create another message that's going to go out at a certain point. At least that's so philosophically I can see how it makes sense, but explaining that. Mary says you don't think all the features yet. Vinny says he'll just stick with MailChimp, and that he doesn't like constant contact. Yeah, the sending out your own bulk mail, you can do it cheaper, but it takes a lot of time, so there's a cost involved either way. Mary says just campaigns now. You like the tags that work with Joomla, so it can be integrated with all the different components. Excellent. Things are always moving along and new things coming out. So change this so I'm a little bit framed a bit better in that. I like that in ACY Mailing 6 that you can install it and it imports everything over from ACY Mailing 5, but you can keep using ACY Mailing 5 while you're looking around in 6 to see what's different. So I did like that. Now, of course, if you take days or weeks, you need to re-import to ACY Mailing 6 if you're still using 5. But I did like how that they could coexist, that instead of updating and wiping out 5 and you being stuck with 6, that you could actually, it went in parallel and you could look and compare. So that was pretty good. Because that's the one thing about updates, when things come along and they get changed, and people miss the old version and there's no way to go back. I just did a cool little thing. Here's something I'll just share with you guys in case you run into it. For my aunt, believe it or not, I have an Aunt Linda. It sounds like a Saturday Night Live skit, but I have an Auntie Linda. And let me just open up a new tab here. She volunteers for an animal recovery and rescue. They take, people bring them raccoons and squirrels and deer and stuff like that. And she uses a Yahoo address, yahoo.com email address for contacting volunteers. And same old. She's stuck with she can't email more than 99 at a time. She has to break them up into different groups. But as I show you on the screen here, she was having problems because the newest version of Yahoo Mail would not work with her browser. She could not click or reply. If she went to the old version, it was like an older version, and her groups were not there. So basically, this wasn't what the URL was. Let me blow this up here. But let's say it was mail.yahoo.com, and it was blah blah something there, blah blah, and then there was the question mark and something, I don't know, equals. And so here's what happened when she clicked in the new version and she selected the old format of Yahoo Mail. When she clicked on contacts, as it was changing screens, it would go to the old version of the email interface that she liked and wanted it back, but then it would go to contacts and then show the contacts in the old version. And she actually said to me, because I was doing this remotely, she's in Ontario, she said, you see that little window that flashes up? That's the email program that I want. That's the version I want to use, but it doesn't stay. So something in Yahoo was kicking her back to the old one. Anyway, so I tried this. I figured, okay, so the old version that she wants to use exists with the contacts. So I actually typed in mail into the URL and hit enter, and wouldn't you know it, that worked. Their old system, for whatever reason that wasn't switching over, it still would work with the tag mail. So I created a shortcut for her and saved it up to the menu bar on her browser. So actually every time she wants to go and do her mail, like if she works with contacts, she'll save them. It kicks her back into the new email that she can't use, but she clicks the browser, goes to this old version, and it's just somewhere in Yahoo something is messed up, but that little mail tag worked for her. So there's a pro tip, a little hack. I'm not sure they teach that in school. You learn that in the school of many late nights, as all of you know, as you struggled with things and figured out things right at the end on things like that. Sometimes it only takes a couple days, right? Okay, everybody. Well, I think we'll wrap it up there. So we check out the time here, but almost coming up in an hour and a half. But that's been really great. We've learned some things along the way. Discovered some things when we were looking at those extensions. And yeah, if you think of anything afterwards, any tips, or I think we pretty much exhausted things well, though. Any tips on how to find good Joomla extensions or anything like that, then you can always put it in the comments section after. But thank you, everybody, for tuning in today, for your support of this channel, and for hanging out, and for all the good things that it brings to my life and my business, because I enjoy connecting with you guys. And that will be it for now. So unless you pop on to my live stream whenever I get around to doing the 3.9.5 update, probably will see you next Monday. So until then, enjoy your Joomla sites, and God bless.